Recently, we had a guy sleeping in the dumpster
Oh,
outside our building, and
in the summer too.
and yeah, well, it
That's a
was
treat.
mostly filled with garbage and stuff, and evidently it was a comfortable place to catch a nap. And so we ended up calling the police to come out, and eventually they made it out and asked the guy to leave. It was funny because the police told him that he needed to clean up his mess first before he left. It was fantastic.
Oh, finally a good police story. I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
But you could tell this guy was mouthing off to the cops a lot, and they let him go, of course. But it's trespassing,
Yeah.
But they're not gonna prosecute anything like that.
What's the point?
Yeah. There's a video from Ted Cruz. He's in some sort of like judicial committee, and they're talking about nominating someone into a position, and he makes such an incredible how would I say realization for people about how these people are what their past has been
And what their intentions are.
Yeah, their record. And what their intentions are, because in many of these cases, these folks get nominated and they don't, nothing shows up until someone really starts digging. They seem to be, oh yeah, they're successful. They've gone through all these different ranks. And then there's the Ted Cruzes of the world who dig and find this stuff, and it's quite enlightening because it shows people really what the person is.
It brings light to what's going on in this world and what you're talking about, all the ease of everybody getting in and out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first issue, the guy that got out of jail just to do it again, just to get right back out of jail.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can't say anything. I don't know. I could imagine he's got a rap sheet. I imagine that's not the first time,
Yeah.
Or third time, whatever. That was a couple times right in one. So
yeah, within a very short period of time.
But I like what I like that he breaks it down to even. I'll just use myself, so people like myself could understand completely black and white. Let me tell you what these people are about, because our good people on the left may not understand maybe why their side are doing certain things that it might be confusing, and they don't know the depth of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, thank goodness for the few senators we have that are willing to work for their money. And this is also to our topic. It is dark, maybe, but humorous.
Mm-hmm.
That they think that they could get away with this because this is written down. So this is worth a listen.
Okay, so I'm gonna hit play, and Ted Cruz is basically he's talking to this lady talking to the committee about nominating this lady, and brings this I think pretty damning information to the table. Here we go.
Prosecutors, you no longer prosecute crimes. We're not in the crime business anymore. In other words, we, the government, almost always, and in fact, I'll take out the almost always Democrats, say, given a choice between a violent criminal and an innocent citizen, we, the Democrats, choose the violent criminal. You may say, surely that is hyperbole. No one would be crazy for someone who meets that description to be the U.S. attorney. Well, let's look at her record. First of all, Ms. Rollins, in February, she was very candid that she came into the job of DA as a crusader. Here's what she said, quote, "If you want to change the criminal legal system, become a prosecutor." Why? She explains why. Because you have, quote, "the power to determine charges and what crimes to decline to prosecute."
Isn't that something?
It's huge.
It's really huge. You think about the consequences of someone breaking the law. If there's no prosecution, if the prosecutor is not going to prosecute your particular crime, what's the incentive to stop doing the crime? Might as well keep going.
Well, that's the point of, I can't remember cities, but in California, I don't know what the word is. They didn't decriminalize, but people could steal up to like $900 before they have to face any serious, before it's a felony. And so people would go in and steal smaller, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But so I want to say small, but within that range to keep themselves out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
it's just going to enable somebody else to do it when they come back. Go, yeah, they didn't do nothing. Well, guess what? 10 more people are going to go out.
Yeah.
It's insanity to me.
There's so many of these cities that are run by the folks on the left, the Democrats. I mean, Portland's a good example. I mean, really all of Oregon is pretty much that way. But there are so many people who are going into these stores now, and they just take stuff and go. I've heard recently in different places in the Portland area where someone would go in and they'd come out with shopping carts loaded with stuff, and it's obvious they're stealing it. And they just load up, off they go, put it in their car, and see ya. And no one from the store does anything about it.
Right.
And they just let them go.
Well, they could write it off too. So
well, and they'll call the police and do a police report. But if they're not prosecuted, and I mean, number one, if something doesn't happen to them during the act, then it gives a message to all these other people that you can do that without consequences. Now, if they get license plates and other things, sure, you can follow up and catch them later. But then if you don't prosecute them, what's the incentive not to do it?
They're not going to waste the money on it. And there's a pool of money to be utilized for these services.
There was a guy in San Francisco. I was listening to one of those morning radio shows, and they were talking about this group of people basically took off, stole a bunch of stuff. The guy comes out with his phone, and he says, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Are you stealing this stuff?" And he just starts talking to him. And, of course, they start harassing the guy who's confronting them. And he just made the comment that, you know what? Because they said, this is none of your business. Why do you care? Well, this is my community, and I really don't want to live in a community where this thing is allowed.
Right.
Which is a fantastic point.
Right. But, and is that so wrong? Yeah. I could be sympathetic to homeless people, and then I don't know the exact terminology, but I call them panhandlers, and there's a difference between professional panhandlers. I don't know what to call them, but there's those people that sit out there on the side of the road. But anyways, regardless, I don't like all the homelessness. I don't like the disaster that they make, garbage everywhere because they don't clean up. My tax money, if it's ever going to be cleaned up, it's going to be my tax dollars to do it. And so insensitive or not, that's fine. I don't care because, I wanted to be in a place that's getting better, not going backwards. Yeah. And so shame me fine for, wanting to, move forward with progression, or to make it better for our kids.
Well, and I always wonder, is it really that safe to be the guy confronting people?
No, you don't.
Because you never know what they're going to do in response to someone confronting them. And you don't know if they're carrying something.
That's right.
So what would be the point? Well, I mean, the guy in this case makes the point that, I don't want this stuff in my neighborhood.
But it just sucks because we need more people like that. He just shouldn't have been out there on his own. Yeah. There used to be a time, I doubt it's really, I can't say I doubt, I don't know if the neighborhood watch is still going on.
I think
it used to be a big deal to where people in the community would always every night, maybe as, friends just walk the streets and check out things and be noticed. And it made a difference, but I guess I've never heard it or ever seen a flyer about it or.
Yeah, there are some neighborhood watch organizations, and they provide a certain amount of information to organize your neighborhood, but it requires your neighbors' efforts.
Right. You can't send one guy out there. Then you're going to have a.
Yeah, what was that guy?
Zimmerman.
Yeah, that's right.
that was a terrible situation.
Yep. Yeah, that stuff can turn bad.
Yep.
All right, I'll continue the video here. Ted Cruz.
So that's what Ms. Rollins tells you matters about a prosecutor, the power to say, I won't prosecute these crimes. Surely she exercised it with reason and restraint.
Surely she did.
Our Democratic colleagues on this committee are suggesting.
Of course.
Right.
Well, let's look in writing, and I will say this document, it is entitled Appendix C.
Okay, this is the interesting part because it's all very kind of hidden. And this is what I hate about politicians, that they just kind of hide stuff in their legalese. It's not terribly obvious to the everyday person.
But what's bad is they're actually admitting to it. I mean, it's really there. You just got to read it and know it. And how's the average Joe going to know that stuff?
They're not.
You know, and it, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, well, shame on you for, you know, that's your due diligence, but be realistic. Senator Cruz had to dig this stuff up.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, it's really unfair to the, not to make us like snowflakes, but it's unfair to the civilians, or not the term I want to call us, but anyways, the population that we don't get to hear this, or it's not posted in an easy place to look when we're ready to make these decisions.
This should be a much more politicized, or not politicized, but publicized.
And with our technology today, having folders and files of all this stuff and easy to look it up, and
I mean, there aren't too many normal
.org.
Not too many. Yeah, there's not too many people who just sit back and watch C-SPAN all day. Right. This particular video is coming from Forbes, and I think they've done a pretty good job here. Here we go.
CDAO, Declination and Diversion Policy. Boy, what an incredibly boring title. Designed to mask a horrific policy.
That's true.
I would encourage anyone, look, if you're watching this at home, and let's assume you have political leanings, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat. If you're a Republican, you're inclined to believe the Republicans on this. If you're a Democrat, you're inclined to believe the Democrats on this. Let me suggest something to you. Go read this document. I'll tweet out this document. Just read it. Read it yourself and then ask who's telling the truth.
Please.
Because for all the Democrats saying, no. What do you mean she won't prosecute crimes? Let me read from the document she prepared.
She prepared.
Yeah.
Charges on the list of 15 should be declined or dismissed pre-arraignment, so even before the proceedings start, without conditions. So we're not going to put any conditions on it. No matter what, just throw it out. We don't want to see these cases. And in fact, the next sentence says the presumption is the charges that fall into this category should always be denied. Always.
These are key
So
words.
no wiggle
Must,
room of,
may,
just in
always.
some cases. Always is what she wrote, even when attached to another charge.
Even when it's attached.
These people
to
just don't want to work at all.
It's like
I don't want to see anybody on my list today. Nobody.
How many different charges could there exist? With like a law-abiding citizen. Well, not too many, but if they're a criminal and they've got a whole slew of things that they're doing at the same time, they can just ignore this one, ignore that one. That's not that big of a deal. You just go free.
Right.
Oh yeah. By the way, lock your car because he's gonna go.
Yeah. It's like, which way did you vote? Oh, all right. Yeah, we got time for this one.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. The politics.
If they make it that easy.
Yeah, I don't get the motivation behind this. Maybe Ted Cruz will explain that one.
So if you have a multiple criminal, we just throw out these crimes. Basically, this is the prosecutors saying, I'm the legislature. Those pesky elected legislators that actually voted on the criminal code, I don't care what they say. I am erasing these crimes from the criminal code. Okay, let's see. Listen, there's some dumb laws. Maybe what she's erasing, I'll tell you, in Texas, it is still, I believe, a crime. Senator Cornyn may be able to confirm it, to carry wire cutters in your pocket unless they protrude 3 inches or more.
Yep.
Now, that actually goes back to the days of cattle rustling. You had a prosecutor who says, all right, we're not going to have an aggressive wire cutter in the pocket carrying prosecution unit. I'd be good with that. So maybe the categories of crimes that she says are no longer crimes in my jurisdiction, maybe they're that kind of thing, the stupid things.
No.
I doubt it, but isn't that funny? We did a podcast early on, and we talked about stupid laws that still exist, and there are tons of those stupid laws. And it's like, okay, I guess I could look at it from the perspective of, you know what? Yeah, like the cattle rustling thing doesn't really happen anymore. You don't have to have the wire cutter law anymore.
If I was a cop, I'm going to interrupt you. If I was a cop, I have my personal bucket list of getting all those people on something. So if I'm walking down, I see anybody with that, I'm busting. What the heck you talk about? Take it to the judge. The judge might dismiss it, but I'm going to bucket list and I'm going to get all these people as best I can.
There should be a point system.
Right. Yeah. A personal.
Yeah. But I think in those cases, if that law still exists, why don't we have lawmakers remove that law? We don't need that stuff on the books anymore. If it's
you've
not
always
relevant,
heard that you never get your rights back. You're always taken away.
Always taken.
So why would they might need that there later. They might like my stupid thing I just said, they might need to utilize that. You know, I don't.
Yeah, maybe
I don't
we'll
know.
go back to those days where those things were relevant.
Well, more laws is better than less laws.
You think so?
No, I'm just saying that's apparently what they
That's
think.
what they're saying.
That's all they do is
Yeah.
just keep them in the file,
Yep, that's right.
add to it.
Well, let's wrap things up.
Why not? That's
All
a good
right.
idea.
Thanks for watching the show. Please tell a friend. We'd love to grow the audience. Real quick shout out to Robbie at the Out of the Blank podcast.
Yeah.
He's had me on a couple of times, and still working with your schedule to get you on.
I'm a disaster, yes.
So, but he's a big supporter of the show, and we really appreciate that.
And I
so.
do appreciate him supporting.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get to show up.
Yeah, yeah. You can find more information on our website,
At nevertooserious.com.
and you can reach out to us via email.
Oh, mailbag
Yeah.
at nevertooserious.com.
Yeah, Ethan's not here to support you in this thing, so I just have to throw it out. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. He never does anyways.
Let's see what else. Social media. You can find us at the NTS Podcast on Twitter and on Gettr. And what else? Merch. Dave, you got your stuff.
I do.
Looking pretty dang sharp today.
Well, that goes without saying. But I do have my cool hoodie on that I need to wash. I've been wearing it way too much.
Yeah, I like it.
I got my
Big old
T-shirt on too.
and got a big old logo
Yeah.
sitting in the middle of your chest.
Well,
so
I got a good big platform I could put it on. So I do it on purpose. I get the best bang for the buck.
yeah,
Yeah.
lots of real estate up there,
know.
Dave.
I just need to get a little skinny person and have it tattooed on them, on their tummy, and then just let them eat.
Wait for
And
them to
then
grow.
that $60 tattoo is going to be about a $2,000 piece of artwork that's
Yeah.
going to be about that big.
And then they turn 60 and it looks like a deflated
Well,
balloon.
you know, it will have its moment to shine.
It's so funny. All right. Thanks again. Until we see you next time, take care.
And be safe.